Going on a Disney cruise can be the most magical experience. However, there are several really common mistakes that lots of people make when booking and traveling on a Disney cruise. The first one is not booking early enough. Disney Cruise Line cruises tend to book up early, and the earlier you book, the more options you're going to have. This can be especially important when you're looking for interconnecting staterooms when traveling with larger parties, or are looking for inside staterooms, as these more affordable staterooms tend to be snapped up quite quickly. It's also worth noting that the price of Disney Cruise Lines fluctuate, and even by waiting until later in the day on the day that the cruises are released, the prices can go up. If you watched my Book With Me for the Disney Dream vlog, you will know that the duration of the time I was on the phone, the price of the cruise went up significantly. Luckily, the Disney Cruise Line honoured the price it was when our call connected, but if I had not phoned until later that day, I would have ended up paying a much higher price. By the way, hi! If we have not met, I am Ree. Welcome to my channel, Mummy of Four Does Disney, where we talk about all things Disney Cruise Line and Disney parks. And if you're looking for some Disney vlogs to binge, I have Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney World, and multiple Disneyland Paris vlog series for you to enjoy. So make sure you check those out after you've seen this video. The next mistake people make is not booking the bits that you need for before your cruise soon enough. So depending where you live in the world and where you're cruising from, this may include transportation to the cruise, it may be accommodation the night before, or it may be parking at the port. Even though these elements may not be booked directly with Disney Cruise Line, although they may in some cases, there won't necessarily be availability for everyone boarding the cruise to utilise the facilities such as parking at the port. So make sure as soon as you have booked your Disney cruise that you are booking these other elements too and not leaving them till nearer the time. Really common mistake for Disney Cruise Line is just neglecting to do your research and plan ahead. There is so much to offer on the Disney Cruise Line, and it's very much similar when you're booking a parks trip really, that if you don't know what's available, then you're going to end up missing out and not maximising your trip. This is where vlogs can come in really, really handy, and like I said, I have got quite a lot of vlogs that you can watch for ideas of things that are going on the ships, things you might not want to miss. You can also check out the Disney Cruise Line website and the Disney Cruise Navigator app for all of the options available on your Disney cruise. But really, the more research that you do, the more you're going to get out of your cruise. And let's face it, who doesn't love doing research about Disney trips? So much fun. Which brings me to the next mistake that people make, which is failing to download the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app. So you may have booked all of your cruise directly through a website, but you're going to need the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app once you get on board the ship. You will have to pay if you want to use Wi-Fi to access the wider interwebs, but you can use the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app to access all of the information about the ship and to contact other people within your party, even when you're out at sea and have no phone signal. So it's really important you make sure you've downloaded this app and that you've updated it to the latest version. Another phone-related mistake that people often make before going on a Disney Cruise Line trip, or indeed a parks trip, is not making sure their phone is ready for the trip. So this will include any software updates you need to do and making sure you've got plenty of space for taking all of those beautiful Disney photographs. There is nothing more frustrating than trying to take a photo or a video clip and saying that your phone storage is full. So make sure your phone is updated and with loads and loads of space and storage before you sail. The next mistake people make is not being aware of the dates leading up to a Disney cruise. So these dates would include the dates that your booking windows open for onboard activities and the date that you can do your online check-in. The date that these are available to you will depend on how many times you've sailed with Disney Cruise Line. The more you sail with the Disney Cruise Line, the further you move up through their Castaway Club tiers. The more you've sailed, the earlier you're able to book your onboard activities and your online check-in, meaning you will get more options for activities to book and an earlier port arrival time. Because remember, everyone wants to get on the ship as soon as possible and maximise all of that Disney magic. So as soon as you have booked your Disney cruise, make sure you get those dates set down in your calendar. Or you could fill them into your cruise planner. And do you know what? I have a magical cruise planner if you are looking for one. Now, by no means is it compulsory to buy a magical cruise planner in order to plan a cruise. I have got a video where I show you everything within the cruise planner, and you can grab a pen and a paper and just jot down all of those things if that's what suits you. Or you can purchase your very own magical cruise planner in a printed or a digital format, the digital format being able to be printed at home or filled in on a tablet. And the reason I bring this up now is because inside the cruise planner there is a space for writing your specific cruise dates, so that you do not make the mistake of doing your online check-in late or booking your onboard activities late and not having the options that you were hoping to get. The next mistakes that people make on a Disney cruise are either over or under packing. Obviously, if you're not flying to your Disney cruise, we are embarking our Disney cruise in Southampton when we just have to drive there. So we don't have to worry about luggage weight limits and things, but still there really is no need to overpack certain items. For example, toiletries such as shampoo, conditioner and shower gel are provided by the Disney Cruise Line, so we do not need to pack those. Underpacking can be a bit of a problem. There's nothing worse than getting on board at your wonderful cruise and realising you haven't got a few essentials that you need. I have got a whole video where I explain everything that you need to pack for your Disney cruise. I've got a pack with me for the last Disney cruise video, which goes through all the things you need to pack in depth. And make sure you are subscribed with bell notifications on, because there will be a full in-depth come pack with me for the upcoming Disney Dream Cruise for August of 2023. Another mistake that people make is not budgeting enough for on-board things for your Disney cruise. While most things are included in your Disney cruise, there are paid for and optional extras. Other than tips, the Disney Cruise Line is cashless, so anything you spend on board will be added to your Key to the World card and paid for on your final bill. This includes any merch you pick up, any drinks you buy at the bar, or any optional experiences and extras that you buy on board. But make sure that you budget for all of this and your final bill is not a bit of a nasty shock at the end of your cruise. Next mistake people make is ignoring refund and cancellation policies. Before booking a Disney cruise, or any trip or holiday for that matter, it's really important to be aware of the refund and cancellation policy. At the time of filming, the Disney cruise cancellation policy is very flexible, and up until the point where your final balance is due, then you are able to move or cancel your cruise and receive a refund of your deposit. But please do make sure you've read the terms and conditions in detail before you book your cruise, remembering that things can change at any time, even if you have cruised before. The next potentially disastrous mistake that people make when booking a Disney cruise is not having the correct travel insurance in place. We actually have an annual travel insurance policy that we have through our bank, so that we know that whatever we're booking, the travel insurance policy is valid to cover our trip for everything that we need. Whether you are shopping for travel insurance or you've got an existing policy, make sure that you look over the terms and conditions of the travel insurance policy to make sure it's covered for all of your needs and eventualities before you book your cruise. Another mistake that people can make on a Disney cruise is missing out on the adult-only experiences. I must admit, this is something that we probably did on the last Disney cruise. We definitely didn't maximise the adult-only experiences because we had our children with us most of the time. It was a COVID cruise when we went in August of 2021, so the children had limited access to the kids club because they had to be booked in. Now, when we go on this normal world cruise in August of 2023, the children will be able to go in and out of the kids club as they wish, obviously with our permission, because we will be picking them up and dropping them off. So it's possible that myself and my husband will get to explore a lot more of the adult only facilities. We have made a decision not to book adult only dining though, because quite frankly the food is all so amazing that I don't want to sacrifice some of the other food in favour of adult only dining. I definitely don't want to miss out on any of the rotational dining. And if you haven't seen any of my videos before, the Disney Cruise Line runs a rotational dining system where you have the same server and the same table number each night. It used to be on your Key to the World card that you found out where you were dining, but I believe they've now moved all that over to the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app. And this brings me on to my next mistake that people make on a Disney cruise, which is choosing the wrong dining slot. There is an early dining slot and a late dining slot on the Disney Cruise Line. For us, for the first trip, we chose the earlier dining slot thinking the children were never going to be awake enough and they're going to be starving by the later slot. But for us as a family, actually, they were so excited and they were sleeping in so much later than they would at home that they weren't going to bed anyway. And to be honest, if you're doing the earlier dining slot, It's not like the children were going straight to bed because they had to watch the later show. So for us, we've made a decision to switch it around and go for the later dining slot for this upcoming cruise and the earlier show. And if the children are sleepy at dinner, then so be it, but at least they won't be missing out on the show. And they definitely will not be hungry because I don't know about you, but we end up eating all day on a Disney cruise. The food is so amazing. So what works for each family is going to be different, but the mistake is not considering which slot is going to be better for your family and choosing appropriately. The next mistake that people can make on a Disney cruise is forgetting to budget for tips. You can choose to prepay your tips before your cruise, or you can choose to take cash, which needs to be in dollars regardless of where you're sailing, because that is the currency that the cast members use on board. Disney Cruise Line recommends a gratuity amount of $14.50 per stateroom guest per night, including infants and children. This gets split up between your dining room server, your dining room assistant server, your dining room head server, and your stateroom host. If you're staying in concierge, the recommended amount is $15.50 per stateroom guest per night. The next mistake that people make is not booking a placeholder. Now, what's a placeholder, Ree? I hear you ask. Well, a placeholder is simply a deposit that you give the Disney Cruise Line before you get off the ship, and that can be used as a deposit on a future cruise. But by paying this as a placeholder fee before you get off the ship, it means you will get 10% off that next cruise. Now, the beauty of the placeholder is you can have it refunded at any time, and if you don't use it by the end of the 2-year window, then it will be refunded to you. And yes, you do have to sail on the next cruise within that 2-year period after you disembark. But as Disney Cruise Line cruises can be quite pricey, having 10% knocked off your next cruise is definitely something that you're going to want to look into. Because I guarantee you, as much as you think, wow, this is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience, you're going to be hooked. And to be honest, the biggest mistake I think everybody makes on a Disney cruise is underestimating the level of the Disney blues that hits as you get off the ship. The Disney blues are real, and I feel like we need some sort of support group set up for people suffering with the Disney blues. And sadly, the only way to overcome the Disney blues is to have another countdown on the go for another Disney trip. Of course, you can get your Disney fix by watching some Disney cruise vlogs, which I will link up here, my Disney cruise vlog series, down here, my latest video. Up here, you can pick up my magical cruise planner, or you can make sure you subscribe to the channel so you do not miss out on any of the magic. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.